want to do a quick video sharing my experience using the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G. Now I'm just going to go through its specs, see if it's a good value phone for you in 2021, and also do a couple of little comparisons to the A12 2021 just to see how it compares to that one. This isn't an official comparison video, but a lot of what I say and what I talk about on the A22 will obviously be compared a little bit to the A12 as well. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing, and let's dive in. So first off, let's start with the display. You get a large 6.6 inch Full HD display with a 90Hz refresh rate, so you get a nice sharp display, but unfortunately it's not an AMOLED screen, which you do find on the 4G version of the A22. But nevertheless, it's a nice display with good outdoor visibility and colour reproduction. This is also a step up from the 720p panel found on the A12 and some of the Motorola's that I've reviewed as well. This display also doesn't support HDR content, nor is there any mention of Gorilla Glass protection, so I'd recommend a screen protector, which is what I did pretty early on. There's a reasonably sized bezel at the bottom of the display, actually larger than the one found on the A12, and up top there's a dewdrop style notch which houses an 8 megapixel selfie camera which can record 1080p video at 30 frames per second. Photo quality from the selfie camera is similar to the A12, although the A22 5G does have a slightly larger f2.0 lens over the f2.2 found on the A12. As for the build quality of the phone, you get an all plastic design. On the left of the phone you have your SIM tray, and on the right you have your volume buttons with your power button with integrated fingerprint sensor underneath. This is situated lower than the one found on the A12, which did actually take me a little while to get used to. This also isn't the fastest fingerprint sensor that I've used. I did find that the A12s to be a bit more responsive more often than this one. On the bottom you have a 3.5mm headphone jack, USB-C port which supports a mediocre 15-watt charging, and a single firing speaker. Here is the speaker quality compared to the Galaxy A12. 5-inch display. Now sadly this is just a HD display with a 720p resolution, so of course you're not going to get the detail of a 1080p panel, but this screen is more than good enough indeed. Now sadly this is just a HD display with a 720p resolution, so of course you're not going to get the detail of a 1080p panel, but this screen is more than good enough in daily use. The back of the phone has a matte style finish, which is pretty good at hiding fingerprints, especially in this black colour. And then in the top left corner you have a triple camera setup, which consists of a 48 megapixel f1.8 lens with a phase detection autofocus, a 5 megapixel 115 degree field of view ultra wide at f2.2, and a depth sensor. The specs of this setup differ slightly from the A12. The f1.8 aperture on the main camera is larger than the A12's f2.0, but the A12 has a wider 123 degree field of view ultra wide, but this is still at 5 megapixels. The A12 5G also drops the macro camera, but for me that's no major loss. And unsurprisingly, photo quality from the A22 is about on par with the A12 during the day, but at night the A22 5G produces slightly brighter photos thanks to the larger aperture, and unlike the A12 you do get a dedicated night mode on the A22 5G, which helps considerably in nighttime shots. Also, video recording is improved on the A22 5G, topping out at 2K video or 1152p at 30 frames per second over the 1080p at 30 frames per second found on the Galaxy A12. So far the A22 has a couple of improvements over the A12, and it doesn't stop at performance. The A22 5G comes equipped with the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G processor, which is a significant upgrade over the Helio P35 in the standard A12 and even the Exynos 850 found in my A12 2021, as can be seen by these benchmarks. Performance for me has been absolutely fine on the A22, with no hiccups or stutters. Light gaming was a breeze, but if you're a heavy gamer, this may not satisfy every need. There are plenty of RAM and storage options available, up to 8GB and 128GB of storage, but my model here is the base model with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. All storage is of course expandable, and colour options include this grey, although it looks black, white, mint and violet, so you've got a few to choose from. And finally, juice comes from a large 5000 milliamp battery, the standard these days in budget phones. This is absolutely plenty for a full day's heavy use, and 2 days of light use is definitely doable. But unfortunately the same can't be said about the charging. Like I said earlier, the 15-watt charger only gets around 23% after 30 minutes, with a full charge taking almost 2.5 hours. So it's not the best. Overnight charging, obviously that's not going to be an issue, but if you want your phone charged up pretty quickly during the day, unfortunately you're not going to get that here. Okay, so that's my look at the Samsung Galaxy A22 5G. Now, typically I am more of a Motorola fanboy than I am a Samsung. The last Samsung phone I used was my Samsung Galaxy Note 4 back in 2015. So it was quite interesting going back to using a Samsung phone with the A12 and now the A22. In terms of value for money, the A12 was definitely not one of the best value phones, because of course you can get the Motorola G30 for around the same money, which improved on a couple of things over the A12. But the A22, £209 is what it's currently available. Now that does seem like quite a lot of money, but you get a 90Hz display, big 5000 milliamp battery, although that is the standard. You still get an ultra wide camera on there, a 1080p panel. It's not one of the better ones, but it's still not horrendously priced, I don't think. I would much rather spend that little bit more on the A22 for the significantly improved performance over the A12, the better screen, the higher refresh rate. But comparing it to other Motorola devices, it might be more difficult to recommend. So, but let me know in the comments what you think of the A22 5G. Is this a phone that you would consider, or is there another budget phone that you would prefer over this one? Again, let me know in the comments. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.